So hi everyone and welcome to Isla and Raheel's cook along. So we're really excited to share this recipe with you. This is following on from the really successful charity cook along we did yesterday to raise some funds for the NHS at this difficult time of the COVID crisis. We're delighted to say we're nearly up to how much now, Isla?
I think 1,590, I would say.
To be precise, yeah, I was going to say, so we're nearly up to 1,600, so we're hoping we're going to absolutely smash the target. We did have a target of 1,000, but now we're going to see if we can get down to 2,000 in total, get up to 2,000 in total. So this video is for those of you who couldn't join us live yesterday, and we've got all the ingredients weighed and laid out, which we'll go through in detail so that you can follow it step by step. Of course, with it being a video, you can stop and start at your own leisure and follow this through. So first thing to do for this recipe is to make sure that you get your oven on. So that would be at 220 degrees Celsius or 200 degrees Celsius if it's a fan oven.
Or 7 gas mark.
Excellent, Isla. Gas mark 7. You've done this a few times now. The other thing to say is a bit of background to this recipe. So this recipe is for baked Pakora muffins. Now, for those who've ever had any pakoras or onion bhajis, you know that they tend to be deep fried, and traditionally this batter would be deep fried. And actually you can use this exact same batter that we're making today to deep fry as well. So if you want to try that, you can do. But the reason we came up with this recipe is because we didn't want to miss out on the taste of this, and therefore we just wanted to make sure that we can have this accessible, and so a healthy recipe was required. Hence the baked Pakora muffin was born.
It's still got oil in it though, but it's not completely healthy, but it's healthier.
Excellent, Isla. Yeah, that's a good point. We're going to go through the ingredients in a minute. So it's not exactly oil-free, is that right? So it's not oil-free, it's got oil in it, but it's certainly a lot healthier than deep frying, isn't it? So for this, the other equipment you will need is you will need a 12-hole muffin tray or a cupcake tin. So we're using something like this. You can see it's a fairly deep one there, because this is a muffin tray.
Obviously oven proof as well.
Excellent, yeah, oven proof, non-stick, so that would be really good as well. Some of the feedback from 1 or 2 people was that their pakoras stuck and they didn't come out properly. So you will have oil in the bottom, so they should free away from the tin really well. But what I'd encourage you to do is make sure that you've got a completely non-stick one, and then that would probably work really well. So Isla, how did it go yesterday anyway?
It went pretty well. Apart from that, my dad flew a potato and landed on the floor. It was
yeah, that was a bit of a comical moment, wasn't it? When I went to chop this potato that I'm going to show you in a minute, it slid off the board. So hopefully we'll try and avoid that happening today, won't we? But that's the beauty of live television. So let's go through the ingredients then. And Isla, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on this side, and then I'll pass over to you, and then you can talk through the rest of the ingredients. So one slight different addition to what we did on the cook along yesterday was that we're going to be adding some spinach. So this is just spinach out of a bag. It's washed and ready to use. If it's not washed and ready to use, then you will need to wash it and just dry it out.
You can also add in different vegetables. You don't have to add in that. We tried cauliflower the other day, which was really nice.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really tasty. So you can put little florets, if you cut them really tiny, you could put little florets of cauliflower in here. You could put carrot if you wanted to, but we're going to go with spinach, which is a very traditional ingredient. We've also then got a small handful of coriander leaves, which we've chopped roughly. It doesn't have to be anything really fine. We've got one large onion, or medium to large onion, and 1 large jacket potato, just peeled, and we're going to show you how to chop these 2 in a minute. Isla, coming across to the spices, can you remember then what we've got in order? So what have we got here?
We've got salt there.
So we're going to, so we've got salt, and we'll go through the quantities in a minute.
And we've got, I think that's garam masala.
Garam masala, fantastic.
And then we've got turmeric.
Turmeric, yeah.
Red chili powder.
Yes.
I think ground cumin.
Excellent.
And baking powder.
Fantastic, Isla, really well remembered. And then what we've got here, how many green chilies have we got, do you remember?
1 to 2.
Yeah, so we're using 2 green chilies here, finely chopped. And what's this?
This is like a, I think, ginger paste?
No, it's garlic. So we've got
Garlic
minced
paste?
garlic paste. Now this is just out of a jar. In the recipe I did put 2 cloves of garlic, so you can crush that in with a crusher, or grate it in, however you wish to. So that's that. And then how many grams of the chickpea flour have we got?
We've got 300 grams, and you can half it, but then you have to have all of the other ingredients that we're doing.
Well remembered, Isla,
So
yeah.
you've done 300 grams.
Yep, so it's 300 grams of gram flour, also called chickpea flour, also called besan. So it's called a number of different things. You really cannot substitute this for anything else in this recipe. It would not come out nice at all. Even if you tried plain flour, wholemeal flour, it just won't work. So please try and source the gram flour if you can. Just coming back to this as well, as Isla was saying, you can halve the amount if you wish. So the recipe what we're making today will make 12 fairly large muffin-sized baked pakoras. If you halve this, you could get the same amount, 12, but they'd just be a lot thinner. So that's absolutely fine. But then don't forget, or you could get 6, yeah. But don't forget to halve all the rest of the ingredients. The other thing we've got here is some oil. So we're using some rapeseed oil here just to make it a little bit healthier. And then for the we're going to do a couple of dipping sauces to go with this. So first of all we've got some ketchup, which we're going to add to the
mint sauce.
Mint sauce.
And then we're going to have mint sauce, which is another dip with yogurt.
Excellent. And then we're going to do a yogurt and mint dip, aren't we, Isla? And then the other thing we have here is just a jug, just of tap water, 275 mils. Again, remember, if you're making half the amount to half the amount of water. And then we've just got some utensils to carry on with. So what I'm going to do first of all, I'm just going to move some of these to the side, and I'm just going to start by finely slicing the onion. Whilst I'm doing that, Isla, do you just want to tell us a little bit around the cook along, how many people joined and how that went along?
So people joined around 35 to 40 people.
Wow, it was quite a few, wasn't it, in the end?
Yeah, and I think they really enjoyed it.
I think the feedback was really positive, wasn't it? They all seemed to really have a good time. They all managed to send us pictures. And again, they came out amazing. So if you're following this recipe on YouTube, we'd love for you to give us some comments on there, or like the recipe, or you can subscribe to the channel and you'll see any other future videos coming out. But also you could share some videos with us on our Instagram page, which will also be on there for you to share.
And also, if you enjoy this recipe, we do cook-alongs, live cook-alongs on Saturdays and Wednesdays. So Wednesdays are bake-alongs and Saturdays are cook-alongs. So you can join us in that as well. And all of the links and stuff are on Facebook or Instagram.
Excellent. Well, we're going to stick with Instagram, I think, for now. So that'll be fine. But we can give some details. If you have a look in the notes in the comment section, then we'll put some details of the Instagram page in there for you to follow. Okay, so what I've just done so far then, so you can see here, finely sliced lengthways the onions, and what we'll do is we'll just break these up into different layers before we add them to the batter. And then as you'll see now with this potato, I'm just going to chop them into almost like pound coin size, so you can see that they're fairly thin. You can go even thinner really, but I wouldn't go any thicker. But try and get them equal in size so that they cook at the same sort of time.
And they're chipped, so they're not round, they're just like chipped potatoes.
Yeah, it's a good way of describing that, isn't it? They're like sort of chipped potatoes. So that's that one, and we'll just go through there. So what, we had 40 people in total, and didn't you have some people from some school friends joining in as well?
So I had my school friends join in and one of my teachers to join in, and I think they really enjoyed it.
I think they did, yeah. And then they shared some photos with us afterwards, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They looked very good.
And did I say that we're hoping to get up to 2,000 if we can in total in terms of money raised for this great cause?
Yeah, we are actually. So, if for a few more days, I'm not sure if we will, but we'll probably put the link in the description box.
Yeah.
And then you can go to our Just Giving page and you can donate, and that'll be open for another few days, I think.
Fantastic, Isla. That's amazing. So, what you've seen there then, so we've got all the potatoes chopped, all the onions chopped. What we're going to do now is we're going to move that to one side, and I'm going to ask Isla to then start making up the batter. So, 300 grams of chickpea flour. So what I'd like to do, Isla, I'd like to take this and start with the salt. So with the salt then, it's 1 heaped teaspoonful of just regular table salt, and that can go straight in.
So about that much?
Yeah, perfect. You can pop that straight in. And then we need 1 level teaspoon of baking powder.
So I put that bit in there.
Yeah, a little bit extra because that wasn't quite, was it? That's perfect. Oh, a little bit less than that. Perfect. Well done. And then we want 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric powder. A little bit more than that, darling. There you go.
So
perfect.
that gets all of the colour and flavour.
Excellent. And 1/2 teaspoon of red chilli powder.
And this kind of depends on how spicy you want it.
Exactly. Let's go tiny little bit more. Wonderful. And then we've got garam masala, so we're going to go 2 heaped teaspoons of garam masala. Yeah, go on. And a little bit less on this one because that was quite a bit. Go on. Excellent. Fantastic. And then 1.5 teaspoons of your ground cumin.
I'll say that's about 1
That's
1/4.
1, and then just a little bit more. Excellent. So then what you can do is you can pop in your ginger as well. Sorry, your garlic. Sorry, your minced garlic, Isla.
So we've got that minced from a jar, so you can also like freshly have it and I think clothe it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so
But
you can
something like
crush
that.
the cloves once you peel them, or you can grate them in. So let me just get all of that there. And then what I'm going to ask Isla to do now, before we add any of the other ingredients then, Isla's just going to give that a good mix, just to incorporate all the powdered spices and that garlic into that batter. So try not to, when you're mixing this, to fling the batter everywhere, because it can, or the flour, because it can ping out of the bowl.
And also, if you're a kid watching this, ask an adult to help because you don't want spices in your eyes.
Very good advice, Isla. So whilst Isla's doing that then, just with this spinach as well, I'm just going to, I might not use it all, we'll see how we go, but I'm going to roll that into a ball like that and just kind of chop it, again roughly, a bit like we did with the coriander. I know I did that before we came, before we started this video, but just like that, rolling it up.
And remember, that's optional.
There
So
you
you don't
go.
have to have that.
So you can see that might have a little bit more, because then it'll be nice, evenly distributed throughout all of the Pakora muffins. And the thing with spinach is, when you're cooking spinach, especially when you're pan frying it or anything like that, it does reduce in size quite significantly. So actually, we've now pretty much used, well, we've used all of it, so that's absolutely fine.
And also, if you have any ideas on what you could put in these pakoras, you could say in the description box and give us some ideas what we could put.
Very good idea, Isla.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do now then is, so Isla's done a really good job. Let me just see, Isla, let's make sure all the spices and everything are fully mixed in, so that there's no bits of baking powder in one part and spices in another. We want a really nice even distribution. And then what we're going to do is start going with the water. So Isla, if you start pouring that water in then, a good idea with this, if you do it right into the middle, so make a little well, that's fine. Good idea to start sort of with a little bit first, maybe a little bit more than that, Isla. Probably half the amount. That's excellent. And just give that a mix. Now, the important thing with this is, it might vary each time you make it. So if you measure it out exactly 300 grams, then this amount should work exactly, i.e. 275 mils. But a lot of this type of cooking with this street food snack type cooking, it's very much on instinct sometimes. So, you know, we're going to keep mixing this, and we'll show you what the consistency should look like before we go any further. So that if you are making it at home and you're unsure, you can just have a look at what that looks like. So that's all of that, and we're going to see, yeah, keep going there, Isla. So I'm going to now mix that, and let's see what sort of consistency we get and if we need any more. The other thing with this is if you can use just a handheld whisk. I wouldn't encourage you to use any other kind of whisk, because you don't need to really. It's always good to get a nice feel for it with a spoon.
And also, make sure there's no lumps in there when you finish mixing it.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing now. So if you see here, I'm just using the back of the spoon, and just on the side of the bowl, if you see there's any big lumps, do just try and get those out. Smooth those right down, because we don't want any lumps of this batter when we're having these pakoras. So actually what you can see from here is that's still probably a little bit thicker than I would like it. So Isla, I'm going to ask you to get a little bit more water, please. Not too much really, it probably might only be another sort of 25 mils or so. So that's fine. If you can then pour that in here, just a little bit at a time. Just do a little bit first. Go on, keep going. That's fine. Now let's give that a mix. To be honest with you with this, if you do go wrong or if it goes really watery, you can just add some more gram flour and balance it out. Obviously we don't want to keep toing and froing and adding more flour, adding more water, adding more flour, adding more water. Otherwise you just end up with a ridiculous amount of batter really.
And also, on the second portion of water, if you do have it, don't put it all in at once, because it might get too watery. So just do it little by little.
So I think that's perfect now. So if you look at that now that is dropping off the spoon like a thick kind of cake mixture batter there. That's absolutely perfect. And what we're going to do with this now, I've smoothed that out as much as possible, so that looks really good. Just to say as well now, as we continue, so Isla's going to add the rest of the ingredients. So we've got the green chilies, so they can all go in. Just pat the top so we get everything out. Pop that away in the sink, please. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add the onions. And remember, just breaking these up in your fingers. Oops, sorry, leave those in there, Isla. Put those in the bin for me, please. Just leave those, breaking those slices up just so that they go in nice and easily. Just breaking those into the layers. Just dropped a few on the floor there, that's fine, it's not the end of the world, we've got plenty here, so that's fine. Then in with potatoes as well, all of those can go in, and you can go in with all of the spinach as well. And finally, the only other ingredient we have left then is, I believe, the chopped coriander. So that's that.
And then give the all a
with
really
the coriander.
good mix.
So just careful when you first start mixing it, just to make sure that it doesn't fly everywhere, Isla. So just give that a good mix now, please. That'd be fantastic. And I can now move this board out of the way. So whilst Isla's just doing that, another thing to say about this batter is that this batter will keep absolutely fine in the fridge for sort of 2 to 3 days, easily 2 to 3 days. So if you don't want to make this total amount in one go, what you can do is you can make a batch now, and then it's just there sitting in the fridge for another day when you fancy them. These pakoras only take about 15 minutes in total to make in the oven. So we've got the oven on, as we said earlier. So it doesn't take long at all. And if you're doing them straight out of the fridge, I'd encourage you just to take them out a little bit earlier, just to let the batter come back to room temperature before you cook them. Or what you can do is you can just cook them for slightly longer, maybe for 18 minutes or something like that. Excellent. So let's just have a look at that on Isla now for a second. So we're just going to, hopefully you can see this now, and you can see that the consistency of that batter is like a thick cake mix now. But nevertheless, it should still fall off the spoon. So it just falls off the spoon there. Okay.
And should we bring it up a little bit closer? Because it's a little bit...
Really good idea, Isla. So that's what that looks like. So you can see all the bits are incorporated there, falls off the spoon, and that's looking really good. So what we're going to do now then, let's move this board out of the way, and let's get the muffin tray. And with the muffin tray then, as I was saying, so what we want to do is just line each of these holes with just about a teaspoon of oil, but it'll just cover the base really. So just like that, covering the base.
Is that a teaspoon of each of them, or is it a teaspoon for all of them?
No, it's a teaspoon each. So if you just bear with me 1 second, Isla, before you start doing that. And for this one, we try and be as neat as we can so that you don't get any of the batter around the edges of the actual holes. Otherwise it all ends up just becoming one big mush of a pakora really. You want them all nice and individually spaced out, so try and do this as neatly as you can. So that's that now. And if you just move that a little bit closer. And with that then, you just want to fill them about 2/3 full really. 2/3 full would be absolutely fine. A good way to do that as well, if I just show you one Isla, so that just to give you an idea.
Get a big lump.
Yeah, so you can get sort of 2 spoons as well if you like. Just smooth that down like that so it's not as messy, and then sit over the hole and then just drop that in like that.
It doesn't matter if you get a little bit on the side.
Yeah, it's absolutely fine. It's not the end of the world. At the end of the day, these are supposed to be quite rustic. It's a good idea as well to make sure that you've got enough potato and onion and spinach in each bite really, so that everyone can get a nice flavour of everything that you put in there.
So make it nice and equal with all the ingredients. So don't put like all the potatoes in one and then all the spinach.
Absolutely. So we're actually filling these to the top pretty much now. So you can fill them slightly less if you wish, but you know we've got those like that, and they look really good now. So Islas, if you don't mind then, what I'll do is I'll just continue filling these ones for the time being. If you could just get me a tissue, so just a bit of kitchen towel, so that I can then just wipe around here, so that it's nice and neat for when it goes in the oven. So Isla, you love these, don't you?
Yeah, well last night I had 5, and the day before that we made them, the day before that as well I had 5. So they're very easy to eat.
Yeah, it's the problem, isn't it? How easy they are to eat, to be honest with you. And because we've been making them for the charity cook along, and then we're doing them again today for the video, we've got pakoras everywhere at the moment.
And also, don't eat them all in one go.
Yeah,
and
probably not a good idea.
And don't make them every single day, because they're very, well, they're not unhealthy, but if you eat them every single day, they are, probably.
Yeah, because they have still got a little bit of oil in them, haven't they? And to be honest with you, they should be a nice little treat, so you don't want to have them every day. The other thing with these is they make great little canapes. So if you've got people coming round to visit, just as they enter, you know, just give them a little snack to get them started. They make a great starter. So if you're making like a, you know, a 3-course meal, you could have a couple of these as a starter with a bit of the dip, or you could have, you know, even maybe 3 in a bit of pitta, with some salad, and that would make a really nice main course, actually quite a healthy main course, relatively speaking. So,
and you can even have them for breakfast. I even trialled to have them for breakfast, and they were actually quite nice for breakfast.
Wow, breakfast as well. I didn't know you did that. Cheeky. Must have nicked one when I wasn't looking. So, when we look at these then, these are actually quite full, and there's still quite a bit of batter left. That's fine, it doesn't matter. I mean, that'll sit absolutely well in the fridge, so that's not a problem. So, you know, that's just a bonus for another day. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean round here just to make sure that when they do bake then, that they come out nice and individual and that they're not all joining together. And then what we're going to do with these then is they are now going to go straight in the oven. So they can go in the oven once you've got to that point, at the temperature that we said, and they will bake for about 15 minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to put those in now, and then we will finish off this video when we will make the actual dips, and then we'll see what these look like when we turn them out.
I'll add a little bit more in that one.
That's okay, we can leave it like that for now.
Okay.
Okay, so we're almost there now. So we've got about another 3 minutes left on the muffin. So whilst they're making, I'm just going to ask Isla to do these two dips. So Isla, do you want to talk us through what we've got here?
So we have the yogurt, and we're going to add in the mint in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got the tomato, which we're also going to add into the mint.
Tomato ketchup.
So every tablespoon of tomato ketchup, to be the right amount, equals to the mint sauce, which is a teaspoon.
Excellent. So anything that you're using, if it's the ketchup or the yogurt, 1 tablespoon of each, you'll add 1 teaspoon of the mint sauce. So we're going to have, we've got 2 tablespoons of yogurt here. You can add in 2 tablespoons of tomato
It's
ketchup.
going to
We
be
can
big
roughly measure that. Yeah, so go on a bit more. That's 1. And another, keep going. Keep going. That'll do. That's about 2 big tablespoons.
So with the mint sauce, now we need to add in 2 teaspoons into here
You do that.
of mint sauce. So we have got 1 teaspoon there, and the other teaspoon there. Then to the yogurt, we're also going to add in 2 teaspoons. So we've got 1 there, and the other one there. Now we're going to give those a good mix.
So don't move that out of your way. So if you want to use 1, I'll get you another teaspoon for the yogurt one.
So
That's fine, yeah, you can use that one for that, and then that one for that. That'd be great.
That's it.
Now, whilst Isla's doing this, also, the other thing you could do, you could make a really nice, do it gently so it doesn't fall out, you could do a really nice sort of chilli chutney. So if you took that yogurt that we had there, some fresh mint, so a bunch of fresh mint, a bunch of fresh coriander, so a whole bunch, and maybe 2 or 3 green chilies, and you put them into a blender and blitzed it, you'd have a really nice mint and chili chutney, which would be amazing with these as well. To be honest with you, you can have whatever dips you wish with this. They'll just taste amazing. You can dump those Pakora muffins into any dip and they'll taste amazing.
So that is the 2 sauces mixed.
Yep, really good job, Isla. And so whilst we're just waiting for those muffins to complete, what we would ordinarily do is just to try and make it a bit fancier in terms of presentation, is just try and find something nice to present them on. So we've got this lovely sort of little cake stand here, so we're going to pop them on there, arrange them on there, we'll have the dips by the side, and that will be that complete. So we're literally just waiting on this now. So I think we've got 1 minute left. I think they're pretty much done.
So the
we'll take
sauces
them out
can even
shortly.
go on the top, but we just put them down.
Yeah, they could actually. That would be quite nice, wouldn't it? To maybe put one in the middle and then some of the pakoras around the... that's the,
So that's the oven.
buzzer. So let me grab those out. Let's turn that off.
This is one of the best snacks you can eat. And if you go to any really country that have these pakoras, you would probably have them deep fried. So as we said before, you can have these, you can deep fry this batter.
You can. So there you go. So there's the pakoras. Just be really careful because obviously that's going to be really piping hot. Now these should just come out fairly easily, so you can see even just with a spoon they'll come out. If they're struggling, you can just tease it around a little bit just to ease the batter with a little bit of a knife like that, and look, they just pop out. And you can see there's a little bit of oil on the bottom. That gives them a really nice sort of crunchy texture as well. What I do sometimes if I don't want too much grease on there is just pat them on a bit of kitchen towel like that and then straight onto the stand. So what we'll do is we'll just put sort of 5 or 7 maybe on the top. Let's see how they look. and then we'll show you how that looks as a finished product. They look absolutely tantalising, and we're actually fasting at the moment, so I personally cannot wait to get stuck into those. So I'm just going to tease out a few more here, so you can see there they look lovely, really nice, cooked all the way through.
And obviously, when you make
treat.
the batter, obviously make all of them the same size, because you don't want some baking differently to the others.
Absolutely, and it's all, a lot of it's in the presentation as well as in Isla, so if we can make them look good. Oh, that one's just broken up a little bit. If we can make them look good, then they're going to be more appetising for people to actually eat as well. So this one's just struggling to
But then I'm sure all of you won't bother with presentation. I'm sure you just want to put them in your mouths.
Exactly. That's the best place for them to go, isn't it? Straight into your mouth. Okay, so there you go. So we'll just do the top tier there. There's our dip. So let me just move this out of your way for you, Isla. You can just show everyone what the finished product looks like. So that's that. Let's just clear up a little bit. If you can just slide those over towards the, if I just move this over here, pop that on there for a minute, gently slide those over. And there you have it, everybody. So these are baked Pakora muffins with our mint ketchup and mint yogurt. So do you just want to say thank you to everyone for watching our video? Thank you, everyone. And what did you want to ask everybody?
Like and subscribe to Raheel's Meals
That's
channel,
right.
so you can see more cook-alongs of Isla and Raheel making different things.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Hope you enjoyed them, and we'll see you all soon. Bye.
Remember to subscribe.